Good news, everyone!
Everybody, welcome, and thank y'all for tuning in. Radio Bandit Hour. That's right, we're dyslexic tonight. I can never say that word to save my day.
We're going to be the RBH.
We're having a lot of problems tonight, folks. Welcome to the Bandit Radio Hour.
So is the rest of the world.
Yeah. We're going to we're going to finally revisit some current events tonight, but we're going to start it off like we always do. Merce, what the hell have you been doing? Let me guess. Planting melons and losing money in the stock market and probably miscellaneous other things as well.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah? Or miscellaneous other things. Oh, dude, you're like legit starting a farm.
Oh, planting blueberries.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about blueberries.
And then what else are you planting?
Lavender.
Well, you haven't ordered that
I'm
yet.
planting the fruitiest things that are...
Although, like, aren't we turning into older men where it's like, I appreciate a nice garden. Like,
no, money.
Yeah.
I don't like blueberries. I don't care for the smell of lavender, but I will sell it to anybody that wants it.
You got melons too, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, those are also growing.
And
I'm literally trying to farm my way through law school.
Do you like watermelons?
No.
Yeah.
No. I like cow.
I follow a lot of like surprise like libertarian or like off-grid stuff, and like there's a lot of homesteading stuff, and I always see this like, we grew our pumpkin and harvested it tonight, and me and my two
I'm
daughters.
totally gonna grow pumpkins too
well,
for
like,
Halloween.
I love the soulless like, why are you doing this, Merce? Money.
Yeah, no, there's no other reason behind it at all.
Merce, why are you being a lawyer? To serve some justice in the world and even things out?
Money. I mean, I'm doing it for the community.
Yeah, there you go. And to give back.
Yeah.
You'd make Ayn Rand proud. Do you know who that is?
No, but I was going to smile like an ad and hope you didn't call me out on it.
They don't know if you're smiling or not, so it's great. But no, she was a crazy... she was like right about some stuff, definitely, but she was like off her frickin' rocker the other direction. It's like she escaped Soviet Russia, like whenever she was a really little girl, and came over here to the United States. And she figured out...
They're like, how'd you leave? And she was like, I ran.
Well, her name's Ayn, then Rand.
Oh.
I like your joke. I wish her name was spelled like you. It doesn't matter. Whatever. No. So she got the hell over here, and she said the number one thing that was wrong with the USSR was the same thing that's wrong with pretty much any government that there's ever been. And she said, people stop being selfish and they do things for the good of others. And I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like wrong, like how you put it. But she goes, no. Like, if you want to give to, like, the homeless or the needy, you do it because you want to. Don't do it because someone's saying, vote for me and we'll do that. It's like, you do it with your stuff, and that'll make the world, like, atrocities are committed when you do it for the better good of everybody else. But then she'd go on to say, like, actually, you would probably like a lot of her stuff. She's like, if you give money to homeless people, you're hurting them. You need to let them starve so they'll learn their lesson. And I'm like,
okay, that's basically my philosophy there, which is dark, but it's kind of like the stray dog problem.
Don't get me wrong. I think if you're able-bodied and like you're just being a lazy ass, yes, of course, like get your lazy ass up and produce more than you consume. Very easy ratio you can work out there. If there's something afflicting you, I'm like, maybe we should like help that person. Not with the government, but like maybe not me. I don't have the time, but someone else should. That'd be nice if they do it, if they want to do it. And
well, we had G. Pierce Wood, but they closed that down.
Oh yeah, G. Pierce. I was like, what government agency is that?
The Funny Farm.
That's a local reference. That's a very local reference. That's a it was
like a mental hospital, essentially. The one that you check in, but you can't leave on your own free will.
The kind that did, and this was in our small town, and I think it was open until the 90s.
Yeah, I remember it. I want to say elementary or early middle school when they're talking about it closing down, and people like, because a lot of people like had jobs there.
And they used to do like psychoshock therapy, and they one of the other things I heard about it was like, like back
probably performed the last lobotomy in the world.
It's illegal now? Well, you're in line anyways, Jimmy. We can squeeze one more in. Scramble. Good enough for a president's daughter, good enough for you. Kennedy's, they did that, did they?
How dare you think?
Yeah. Why are you being weird? That's my, like,
You have your own thoughts, blasphemy.
But no, I also heard something about G. Pierce Wood, and this was like, I don't think this was solely in our small town, when it was like back in the 50s, and like a guy could show up and like, yeah, my wife's gone crazy. I'm throwing her in here. She's like, I haven't gone crazy. You're just kind of being an abusive asshole. And he's like, see what I mean? She's gone crazy. Like, I can see both sides of some arguments, yes.
Yeah, there's nothing I can say that's not going to come off wrong.
Yeah, but no.
But I can't say they weren't either.
Isn't who's right just subjective? Oh, dude. And you know, it's like, this place had this reputation, and everybody in town was just like, that's fine.
That was just like the thing.
Yeah,
there's poop on the walls, but...
That's been here, but things don't need to change. Last time they tried to change, there was a war.
I really don't know why it closed. I don't know if it had, like, lost funding or... Because it was, like, planned. Like, it wasn't just, like, one day they pulled the plug or something, like, catastrophic happened. At least not that I heard of.
I think it was a mix of, like, losing funding and the facilities weren't doing good. But we don't know. We're speculating. We don't know what we're...
And then it was, like... then I had some people... Because I used to have a runway near there I used to fly off. And then it was, like... You see in articles, it was like dubbed like the little lost hidden city because it was like its own little city in there.
Its own houses.
And people would go like explore it and have videos of all the abandoned stuff. And then I got like phone calls.
My mom told me that back when she was in I think like this just popped in my head. I think it was like the 1st or 2nd grade. She had a best friend who lived out there. Like, because, you know, her parents were like...
Yeah, the doctors had houses, like, around near it.
And my mom says, yeah, I remember us getting in our bathing suits and going to the pool and seeing, like, the people inside looking out the windows at us. Going, like, hey! And she's like, hi, everybody! And, like, going to the... Like, just... blatantly...
Yeah, in hindsight, that probably wasn't good.
No.
It's like... wagging a steak in front of a dog.
Yeah, but no, she's still here, still kicking, still gets some... I'm not going to say that next part. But anyways, one thing, hey, like this popped in my head while you were saying that. One correction to last week. I might have been completely off my rocker wrong about something, and I'm just going to go ahead and like get into it. Everything I said about Mayaca and there being development all the way between 2 state roads, yada, 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 eminent domain, big chance, absolutely none of that's happening, and it was just some Mayacan redneck running his mouth and didn't know what he was talking about. Surprise, surprise, irony's not lost on me saying that.
Or did they get wind of you blowing the whistle and had to cover it up?
Maybe that's it. Well, I know I talked to my father, who's like the premier surveyor of the county, who's in the Frankenstein neck brace right now. He's doing better, doing a lot better. I was happy to see that. I'm like, hey, Pops, you know about the surveyings and developings going on in Manatee County, right? He's like, yeah. All right. What's going on in Mayaca with this huge development and eminent domain? He goes, what are you talking about? The government just bought like a lot of land all the way to Mayakawachula Road. And he goes, like, you know what part? Like, how big? I'm like, dude, it's supposed to be huge. Like, you know, I described him, described the others. That hasn't happened.
Yet?
Yeah, I was like, has there been a meeting on it? As he goes, listen, he goes, I've heard of like eminent domain like going crazy in other parts of the country. He goes, our county really has like a pretty good grip on it. Like he goes, the only time I've seen it is like for roads and for like this. He goes, I've never really seen it go like stuff you see in New York where they're like, no, you can't build here because the county's buying it, but we're going to sell it to a real estate development in favor of the county.
Is it China or is it Japan? I've seen the stuff that, you know, as crazy as their laws are, I don't think they have an eminent domain. I mean, I could be wrong, but have you seen like where there's like houses and they've had to like build the interstates like completely around them, where they have to build like a bridge over them because they won't sell?
Me if that was Japan.
Okay, I would say China, they just bulldoze you with you in the house, but
the Japanese culture, like growing up, outside of the amazing Dragon Ball Z, I hated like everything anime and all that. Still don't really like it. It still looks too... When I say too foreign to me, I don't even mean like, oh, like a foreigner from Europe or a foreigner from Mexico. I'm like, no, this stuff looks like from an alien planet. Like this culture is so...
I didn't really think
God bless them.
There was some I remember I've watched that I didn't care for, but it was when I was younger, I didn't realize it was actually anime. It was just like I just considered like their drawings, which I guess it is, but it was like normal. It was just like their type of draw. Like basically, if it was on like the cartoons, the other cartoons, I would consider
it was
that
thrown
anime.
in the mix.
Yeah.
And but no, there's like in Japan, like their culture and their customs are so different than ours. Like their legal drinking age, I think it's like 18. I can't remember who told me this. Maybe it's full of shit, like a crazy Mayakan. But they have like their drinking age is 18, but they have alcohol vending machines like on street corners that don't ID you. There is like
If you buy underage, you bring great shame.
Well, yeah, and like literally, they don't do it. Like they just don't. Nobody. Everyone's like,
I feel like a lot of the people, like the big stipulation, in the United States is the drinking. It's the you got to be 21. It's the waiting. It's the fun to do it, to sneak it.
Oh yeah.
It's like look at Europe. They just go ahead and make it normal from the get go.
Although Europe's full of a bunch of drunks.
We got a bunch of the Irish, but
Irish.
Spain, they take like lunch naps.
Oh yeah.
They have like a post lunch nap like session like
so one thing the native Mexicans were like
part of their day. Yeah. Like they have like wine at lunch and then they go take a nap.
Oh dude, the Mexicans I always worked with on the ranch, they were like, during our lunch we would eat for 10 minutes and we get a 50-minute nap, like on the dot, and up and back to work. I'm like, how do y'all do? When I say a lunch, I don't mean like they eat crackers or something. Like their wife cooked them a feast and they scarf it down.
That's how it is in the melon field.
Yeah.
They'll sit there and they'll pull out just all the tinfoil and the tamales and
so delicious.
like the tacos.
Did they ever offer it to you?
No.
Oh, they don't like you.
Yeah, I'm the white guy up in the tractor.
Yeah, like kiss my ass wet.
Well, they also don't speak. Most of them don't speak English in the first place. So
yo habla poquito español. I speak ranch Spanish. I speak ranch Mexican.
I know enough to know when they're really mad at me.
I think that's more nonverbal cues.
Yeah, like I better watch my back.
Oh, Raul, you're talking rather loudly. You might want to turn that volume down. I kill you, Raul. Tu muerto. I don't know shit. But anyways, yeah, what the hell? So what we got into? That all came off of what the hell you were doing this week.
It's been a week.
Yeah. Dude, I've like moved on to like a service tractors. We're trying to fertilize and herbicide at the same time. Just mix it all in one tank and let it go. And herbicide that doesn't kill the grass. And,
so like 2,4-D and stuff?
Yep, 2,4-D mixed it with some...
I need to do that, but I can't because there are peppers planted right beside where our hayfield and stuff is.
Be alright, just get downwind.
Not risking that. Not risking buying like 100 acres worth of peppers.
But no, we're doing it like on the isolated part of our property. So I've got to do that. There's been like a concern lately. We had to work our cows pretty hard, like bring them to the pens a lot. Don't get me wrong, it hasn't been like a lot of them dying, but it's been just slightly more than usual. It's been like, I told y'all last week about the one that laid down with it.
Right.
It died. So I'm riding around today, and I see one on the ground by itself away from the cows, same scenario. And she's an old cow. And I'm like, damn it, mama. I pull up in my truck, and I look at her, and she goes and tries to get up on her back legs, and makes it like to almost halfway up, and then sits back down. And I see like a big pile of crap behind her from where she's been sitting there. Well, I talked to the boss lady. She says if it's old, go ahead and put it down. Well, all right. And I've driven my truck up to her like at 2 different points today. That like within 30 minutes. And both times she's kind of gotten up and just laid back down. Like, all right, mama, time to send you off to the next life. Load my 22 and step out of the truck. And me stepping out of the truck must have given her an adrenaline boost. Because her scraggly ass stood all the way up and just started like gangly walking, like rearing her head. And I'm like 10 feet away from her. Oh God! And just crawl like NASCAR that shit back into the driver's seat of my truck. I didn't do that. I opened the door and like jumped around real quick and jumped in. And she just kind of ran down the side of my truck. Didn't hit it, and straightened back up and started walking towards the water hole that was like 200 yards away. And I was like, all right, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
All she had to see was that shiny thing in your hand.
That or me on foot. And just...
Nope.
Yep, this ain't happening. It's like that Family Guy where they go to put down the horse.
You put some weight on it.
The horse turns around, breaks the guy's leg, and pulls the shotgun on him. for being fantastical and completely non-making sense, they do a good job of it.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, I feel like they could just do away with the story and just be just a whole just cutaway.
Yeah.
Reels.
Because I haven't watched that show and like sat down and watched that show in probably like 5 years.
But it feels like they almost have a cutaway for any situation.
The stupid, I'm watching more and more shorts and TikTok like videos, and I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
And unfortunately, I think it's not just you, but I think unfortunately, like most of the media and stuff that you have access or is getting like sent your way is that.
It's just shorter and shorter. I tell you, like, if I'm being honest, I don't know. Maybe I flip through 5 or 6 and find one decent one I like. But if it's a Family Guy little thing, I'm like, oh, they're made to knock this short format.
Yeah, I think people just use those because like, oh, this is the way I can rack up some serious views.
Dude, half of them you see, it's like they're recording a TikTok reaction to another guy doing another thing, and it's like 4 channels removed from the original recording.
I think that's how they're trying to get around the...
Dude, it's almost... I'm sorry to sound like the twat in class, but it's like, you'd almost just rather do the work instead of working that hard to not do the work. I don't know, we're being jackasses and throwing our thoughts out there.
I mean, they have like 100,000 views, and we get like 100.
You ain't gotta say the number out loud.
But I mean, maybe that was just the last episode. We do have some videos in over 10,000.
Yeah, we do. And actually, what was the icing on the cake was how many views did your Twitter video get that you made off of not Joe Biden's, what's his name's computer?
Oh,
the laptop.
Oh yeah, 100. That one was super viral on Twitter. It was like, I think we were like 250,000 or something on there. That's
pretty neat. That was that, and I was like, oh, I get why people are saying social media might be a problem. This feels really good.
Yeah.
But hey, for right now,
we're relevant for 30 seconds.
We were, but dude, we've kind of like had talks off air of like, what, if we're eventually gonna like make money at this, should like we kind of watch what we say or whatever. I'd rather talk to 100 people about how I honestly feel about shit than 10,000 about what I don't. Ew. Which, hey, by the way, side note, this stuff I genuinely and honestly feel could totally change in a heartbeat tomorrow. Just that. What did Thomas Sowell say? Like, a man, equality is such a myth, a man isn't even equal to himself on different days of the week. Like, the same man on a Monday is not equal to himself on a Friday when it comes to work.
I feel like you read that on the bottom of like a Snapple lid.
No, it might as well have been. It was on a Facebook scroll.
That's like an inspirational, like...
No, it's like, real, equality's... It's a human rationale to try to make sense of something you can't possibly make sense of. I mean, even if you say these two things are equal in weight, you get down to the atoms, they're different. But our mind just does there is a difference in their weight, I guarantee it.
Right.
Unless you get something on the atomic scale, and then maybe at that, there might even be things we don't know about that may still makes them unequal. But aside from getting down that really complicated rabbit hole, I don't know how I did it. Quality. No, anyways. What the hell? Well, so, that was my cow non-death go wrong, but it got me thinking. We talked about a couple episodes ago, like the good deaths that like a ranch kind of gives to animals as compared to like nature, like we we put things out of their misery with a quick bullet, most times 1,000 times greater than anything in nature.
This is why PETA loves us.
This is the part where we're gonna like really be brazenly honest with people. It doesn't always go according to plan. There's
when it comes to ranching and farming, just go ahead and take that and chunk it out the window.
There's whoopsie daisies that just crush your heart. I don't care how manly of a dude like you are, how much you kick ass or whatever. If you make like a gut shot on a deer, like there can't be a part of you that just doesn't, unless you're a psychopath, that just doesn't go like, man, I just did something really wrong.
Yeah.
Like
it's like a my bad.
Yeah, I would have rather missed the damn thing.
Yeah.
I'd have rather not shot. I'd have rather done 100 things.
Honestly, like like when I've shot does or stuff here lately, the last few times I've gone hunting, I just aim for like headshots because I figure I'm either gonna miss or
that's noble.
Night termite.
That's why I don't want to bow hunt. And like the guys that do bow hunt and like kill the damn thing within, even if it's within 5 minutes, like it's not that bad of a death. You get shot with a stick and you go lay down in a bush and you die. That's better than other things. But all right, so let's start off with you. Let's let you break the ice. What's a bad farm death?
I saw a calf get hit by a bush hog tractor mower.
Oh God! Oh God!
Well, yeah, it was tall grass, and the irony is my father's the one that hit it, and it was a pure accident. But he had warned me like 2 days before. You gotta watch out where these calves in this tall grass. He's like, you can't be on your phone. You gotta. And it was no sooner like the next day or doing something. I was on the Ranger and I heard the tractor shut off or whatever. And I come riding up.
Heard the mower catch.
Well, I remember heard the mower, because you can hear stuff like whatever. But I heard the mower disengage, and then I heard the tractor shut off. And so I went like riding over there.
I've never done that.
I haven't seen a lot of The Boys, but picture a scene from The Boys.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like it was a little guy.
I might just leave you hanging on that story and not tell any of my own.
It wasn't. It was just a
no, it was really bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, all right. For telling bad stories, I guess I got to own up to like one of mine. This was like, I'd been hunting a bunch of times. But this was like, I didn't kill a deer until I was like 9 or 10 years old, and that was a spike. It might have been, I was 10. This was like when I was 12 or 13. I'm hunting with my brother Matt, and we see like a nice 6-point. He goes, "Oh, Josh, that's it, man. Go ahead and, drop it." And I pull out my rifle, and I shoot it. And dude, I think I shot it like right behind the shoulder. Where if you don't hunt, like that's one of the sweet spots to hit them where they die quick, because you either hit a lung or you hit a heart. And there's very unlikely chance you're like going to miss a vital organ. They're going to die pretty quick. So I shoot him, and he, I think he took a couple steps, and he fell down. And my brother goes like, "Dude, way to go, Josh, great shot." And he goes, let's give it a minute, let it die, so we don't scare it. I'm like, all right, give it a minute. We go walking up, and he's like, all right, let's and it like starts like we see it still breathing. It's going, ugh. And he goes, all right, go ahead and put it out of its misery. So I got a bolt action gun, so every time you pull the trigger and shoot a bullet, you got to rack another bullet. I go and I put I'm standing like 5 feet away, pulled my rifle up, aim at the head, and I pull the trigger and shoot, and right when I do, it moves its head, like just kicks back, and I shoot the dirt. And I go, damn it. Reload, pull it up again, get a little closer, go to shoot, like a cartoon, it moves its head down. Boom, shoot right over its head. And I'm like, come on. And I can't remember if I did this or if my brother did this. But one of us, I can't remember if he goes, let me see the gun and I'm going to do it. But either way, one of us goes to shoot, like puts the barrel right up by the head. And right before we shoot, it moves its head and we blow its jaw off. And then it's just kind of shooting blood out. Pretty graphic. And then we freak out and he pulled out his pistol, I'm pretty sure, and shot it in the head multiple times and then it died.
Oh dear.
I think we're going to cut all this shit out.
Yeah. Fun times.
Yeah.
Hunting season's over.
Yeah.
So
spring gobbler's here.
Oh yeah, no, back turkeys.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I'll tell you what, that's gonna be a secret stash that we put away, and y'all might.
No, I'm gonna let it ride because that's a lot more editing.
Oh, you gotta do this by tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So no, it's in there.
All right.
It was accidents, and if nothing else, it's why we strive to be better.
Congratulations, everybody. If you made it through this part of the podcast, it is smooth sailing from here out.
Or it means you're a psychopath.
Yeah, or that. Join us in the club. So, and by the way, this ain't like, this ain't stuff that like rednecks go and brag to their buddies about. This is like stuff like, oh, this is going to darken my soul forever. I'm so sad.
You have nightmares.
Yeah, it's, It's bad. But anyways, farm life, awesome, kick ass. On to current events. Merce, what's been new with the news? How's your stocks doing?
They're on fire
Yeah.
as usual. Thank you, Federal Reserve, for once again just existing.
Yeah. So what exactly? What give me
inflation wasn't transitory. They can't get it under control. They're gonna have to hike rates higher for longer. We're basically going into recession.
Yeah,
there is no soft landing.
Let's start with the first thing you said. It turns out inflation is not transitory. What you mean by that is they were saying like, oh, this inflation.
We just gotta deal with it for a little while.
We just gotta buff it out.
Yeah.
Like just buff it out and it'll be right back to normal.
Which we probably could have if the government would have stopped spending just ungodly amounts of money.
Yeah, more money than you could ever imagine.
But then we had the third child, Ukraine. So.
But we got rid of the second child, Afghanistan.
Yeah, that one died in a plane crash.
But hey, we'll get to all that humanitarian.
Oh, speaking of plane crashes, did you see the plane crash in Winter Haven? No. 2 planes crashed into each other and landed in a lake. 2 people are dead. I don't know if there's other ones that are searching for survivors.
Small aircraft? Or?
Yeah, one was a little float plane, and one was like another little...
Oh, float plane, like water plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one was like a little another like 4-seater plane. They hit each other and fell in a lake.
Man, I thought with all these air traffic controls and regulations, that should... Oh, no, that's a strong to say that should never happen.
Most of Central Florida is uncontrolled airspace. So there wouldn't be... You don't talk to people. It's on you to look out. You know how many times... Like, I've had extremely close calls just flying around in a crop duster.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, you'd be flying
It's just anarchy in the skies.
Yeah, there's no rules.
I like it.
Yeah, and it's just...
Why didn't I become pilot?
It's more like, what are the odds to we're in the same place at the same exact time? It is way scarier and way more common than you think. I don't know how many times I've been flying along, but oh God! You see the other guy's sunglasses as you go by. And
y'all both make a little face at each other.
I watched my buddy almost get smoked by a Harrier. We were outside of Cherry Point.
Hey, what's a Harrier? Like
the jet that can vertically take off for like the 90s.
Really?
We were outside of Cherry Point.
The one that can be standing still and just go straight up?
Yeah, not the new F-35s, but the old like original one.
Right.
We were flying outside of Cherry Point, which is like all the military bases around doing spraying, and he was like ahead of me a little ways, and we've been coming across, and where we've been flying at, it's like active. I mean, there's military everywhere, and we actually had to wait for like the zone to be like cooled down wherever it's going. And all of a sudden, like I see one Harrier come by, like kind of high, and this other one comes like screaming by low. And my buddy keys on the mic. He's like, he almost effing hit. And you're not supposed to cuss on the radio. It's like, almost effing hit me. And like, it was insane. I was like, that was sketchy. He's like, yeah, his helmet was red and white.
Oh man, that's ooh.
But I about watched my buddy go boom.
Yeah, no, thank you. And yeah, it's one of the most dangerous jobs in America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wild.
Or being a friend with the Clintons.
Yeah, yeah. Which, by the way, I shared it with you and I shared it with my brother. I thought this was cool as hell. So, an old, you would say, I would have called it a fringe conspiracy theorist, because not even most conspiracy theorists knew about this. I mean, me, I've kind of been one since high school, and I didn't really hear about this till a few years ago.
I was one before it was cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I always loved entertaining conspiracy theories. Like, I remember when I heard about 9/11 truthers. Like, I was starting to get kind of red-pilled by Glenn Beck and Ron Paul. And I was like, yeah, maybe, but probably not. Don't get me wrong, I'm still right there with 9/11. But everything else, I'm like, probably so. Except for stuff like moon landing and stuff like that. But with CNN article, my bad. One of the old ones was that there was much more to the Oklahoma City bombing than what we were told. Much more than just Timothy McVeigh and some other dude that's never mentioned wanting to blow up an IRS building and killing a lot of people. Like, there's much more to it. And one of the names that kept being brought up in that conspiracy theory was Terrence Yeekey. He was either a cop or an ambulance driver. I think he's a cop. And he was like the first responder to the first one at the scene of the Oklahoma City bombing. Pulled the most bodies out. Hometown hero, did a bunch of great things for the community. He never straight up said that there's a conspiracy or that like there's bad forces at play. But a lot of his answers to interview questions the next 5 days are, you could, if you, and this sounds hokey, but if you listen for it, like, it almost sounds like someone who's not just like, oh, the Timothy McVeigh's a bad guy and we're here to help. It's like, there is a lot going on. Like, it's really.
He was trying to be careful what he was saying.
Yes, and it's like 5 days later, he's found hanging from a tree with, I believe, a shotgun wound to his chest, or so. And the gun was never found, and it was ruled a suicide. And there's like slashings on his arm, and where he's drugged through the grass, and a whole bunch of that. Like, you open that rabbit hole and go down it, and you find a lot of other things that just don't.
I'm gonna go on the record now, and if I'm ever committed suicide, nope.
Yeah.
Was framed,
I got kids, I just can't.
I'm clumsy. It was
Accident? Maybe.
Yeah, like tripped on a banana peel, like smoke. Yeah, 100% plausible.
The reason I bring this up is, like, this has always just been like one of those internet holes where you find a lot of.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with them internet holes.
You do. Just go in there and wiggle around, see what's in there. But no, like, you'll find a lot of sourced and cited facts, but it's like this never comes up anywhere else outside of this corner of the internet. Well, CNN, like, I believe just 2 days ago, published a full article on Terrence Hickey. Was it actually what all the mystery surrounding this first responder of the Oklahoma City bombing? And if you go through it, it's almost like the writer's been listening to some of the stuff I listened to, and I'm like, all right, this is one of two things, possibly other things, but in my mind, it's one of two so far. Either this story has gotten enough traction on the internet that, for lack of a better, the corporate press feels the need to, like, give it some room.
Well, it's gotta be terrifying to say these things are, the conspiracies are, like, real, like,
right.
The government that
Hypothetically.
Yeah. Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, but Death Wish coffee.
Yeah.
But
wow.
How terrifying it must it be to them that now that how easily communities can find information, archives, and share it with each other, almost like a hive mind, where these things are now being questioned and more pieces. You don't just have the one guy in a basement with tons of papers strung out. You have, like, the whole.
On one hand, you have 1,000 dedicated CIA agents. On the other hand, you have 1 million nerds with autism.
Yeah.
Like, that just.
You have one crack connoisseur going ham.
Have you ever heard of Don't Mess with Cats?
What I feel like you've told me. This sounds.
I don't think I've ever talked about it on the show. I've heard about it other places, but if I'm being honest, I've never, like, sat down and watched the documentary. But it's one of these modern internet phenomena that so there's this, like, horrible human being that it's a Netflix documentary, but in this documentary there's this horrible human being who started making videos of himself, like, torturing, killing cats and kittens and putting them on the internet. You know, awful, right? Cops or government should do something about it. They either didn't have time or it wasn't important enough to press on charge. So in steps the autistic internet, bunch of cat lovers, like psycho cat lovers.
Yeah, it's animals have more rights than a person now when it comes to people on the internet. They will watch somebody get beheaded, but you kick a dog and.
Okay, like, admittedly, yes. You shouldn't be torturing fucking cats, Merce.
No, I'm just saying. But
odd moment to protest PETA. Like, these cats are being tortured to death. Damn tree-hugging hippies, I swear to God, can't even beat a dog nowadays.
I stand by my statements. I'm not pro animal abuse, but I stand by my statements.
Jesus Christ.
Well, no, it's the fact that people get more up in arms about an animal being hurt, which is bad, than a person being hurt.
I agree. You should care more about a human being hurt. But still,
yeah, no.
odd timing.
My timing's never been well.
Anyways, in steps these, like, cat nerds that are, like, they start analyzing on, like, such a deep level, like, start looking at the guy's room, start going, like, hey, look at that electrical socket. That shade and color is only available in this. Anyways, they track the guy down and get him like imprisoned and stuff like that.
Like that was it? You tell me about Shia LaBeouf?
That's what I told you.
Yeah, they were
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, they tracked him down as he was trying to do his stuff, and they found him in a field still.
It was beautiful. Like what he switched. It started out with him protesting Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I think he bought or rented like a little space in New York that was like right by a main public road. And like it just had a camcorder and looking at it like, and he's like, hey, if you want to protest Donald Trump, come stand in front of this camcorder that I'm leaving here running 24/7 on a live feed. And the internet just took advantage and started playing Hitler music and doing everything revolting that you could in front of it. He ended up moving location like 5 or 6 times, different countries, to try to get away from internet trolls. And by looking at stars and airplanes and listening for car sounds, they could find him every time. And okay, like, who did I just show you a Jinx video of before the Unabomber?
Oh, you just said
Uncle
his name.
Ted Kaczynski?
Yeah. No, Terrence Zeke.
No, that's Terrence Cheeky. No, Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, who's Mr. Industrialization and all that is terrible and need to mail pipe bombs to everybody. Like, he has some valid concerns about the progress of technology. But the other parts, like, there are upsides, like all these nerds being weaponized in different ways, covering anything from cats being mutilated to Ohio. Palestine.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the new Ohio.
New Ohio?
There's been a second train crash.
Oh.
With Norfolk. The same company with hazardous materials.
Norfolk Southern?
Yeah, in Ohio.
Get out of here.
I forget what town it was, but yeah, it was just like last...
Pause for a second. I really thought you were about to tell me about a new Ohio.
No.
Like a new...
Well, by the time all this radiation
Ohio's just going to move north.
It's growing to second Ohio.
Yeah, there you go. So, dude, I saw a really good... Speaking of that, I saw an excellent short documentary by Jake Tran. I can't recommend him enough on YouTube. He's this little Asian fella who just does great... I mean, he's American, but... Asian. He does these great documentaries on everything from how money moves between weapons manufacturers and countries we're invading and gets back into their pockets to drug cartels to the dictators flipping money, whole bunch of crazy shit. But he finally did an expose on Norfolk Southern that I tried getting you to watch, but I knew the attempt would be in vain. Is
that what you sent me today?
No, I didn't even send it to you today because you were just like, I want a tractor. You'll send it to me and I won't watch it. I'm like, all right, I'll talk about it tonight.
You're learning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm training you at this point.
So I'll just pretty much give you the information of the video. For the
or you show up like right here before we do anything. You're like, here, you have to watch this.
Here's a boom box. I'm wearing a leather jacket.
Yeah, you wait till like I've set my phone down and I can't do anything else. And it's like, okay, yes, I will watch your videos.
So many Jinx videos. But no, so he... Help me out. What the hell did I just say?
Something about an Asian Tran.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which also now doesn't sound good.
Video title. Anyways, Jake Tran, yeah, documentary, Norfolk Southern. I'm there. Bam, I'm back, baby. All right. So what he does, he like analyzes kind of where it started, the whole incident, and he... in a very Meet Kevin-esque way, goes through a lot of the documentation, like from Norfolk Southern.
Does his homework on it.
Very much does his homework. And what the conclusion he comes to, so the wreck happened, and there was a chemical spill, and like within a day, I believe, maybe 2 days, they decided to start burning it, right? So he said there would be a controlled fire, and that would be much safer than it leaking out everywhere. He said, well, this was like a really interesting coincidence because, you know, if you actually had to contain the liquid and like, you know, make a big drainage ditch to like the buffered flood zone and actually contain it like you're supposed to, he's like, that will take like weeks and weeks right there around that rail line, and keeping it closed and no trains running. But if you clear the wreckage and set it on fire, trains can run again.
Oh, yeah, you just rebuild the rails and...
And every day the trains don't run, Norfolk Southern's losing money. Now, I spitballed this because I, like, heard it a couple of weeks ago, and I said it a couple episodes ago. I was like, I think BlackRock owns most of Norfolk Southern. Checks out. I was right about that. Ding, ding,
Well, I
ding.
think BlackRock owns most of everything.
Most of like the top 100 companies, them or Vanguard is another one that owns a lot.
And the Saudi PIF, Saudi Arabia, is buying up like a ton.
Yeah, they got Arab money.
Yeah.
There's always been a part of me that's like, I think the United States is trying to drain them of oil before we drain ourselves. Because anytime I've heard a lot of conservatives go, why don't we just drill here right now? And I'm like, that does make the most sense, unless we're like saving that for later.
My conspiracy theory is that oil's not that scarce, and they're just saying it is.
Diamonds. I mean, they've done it with other things. But no, so Jake Tran, sorry, Asian Tran, whatever. He like pretty much comes to discover not only does BlackRock own most of Norfolk Southern, they also own most of MSNBC and CNN.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
So the reporting on that could like go in different directions and not affect their bottom line. They can get trains moving through with all of like, and like they've had lobbyists. It's a mixed bag because like on one hand, he said how the lobbyist argued that there should be a safer technology on the rail cars that's digital that checks the brakes instead of the workers doing it because it'll be cheaper. And like the union stepped in and was like, no, the workers do it. And there was
I've got like a double. I got like, I don't know. I feel like unions are a double-edged sword.
I think they're cool if they're non-violent and don't force people to join them. I think when you get any club that has that requirement that breaks those things, it goes retarded with power. No, but so anyways, yeah, that whole thing in Ohio is, which I'm sure everybody listening, like, it's a mess, obviously.
Yeah, but like I said, another one of their trains
is now derailed again.
Yeah.
Was that hauling hazardous chemicals?
Yep.
Get out.
Yeah, in another part of Ohio. I forget which city it was, but yep.
Dude, and you know, I hear a lot of conservatives like say, I want the good old days of Walter Cronkite just shooting it straight and just telling us like it is. It's like, no, you would never hear of this stuff in those old days. They wrapped it up very tight. Walter Cronkite, he was a puppet of the empire. Like, we have this vision of back then of,
now y'all got the Bandit Radio Hour.
Now you got us and you got a shitload of other people. You got based-ass commies like Russell Brand going around talking shit.
Yeah, that is wild.
And that's why I hear, it's been like 3 conversations this week. And for once, me not bringing it up, but like conservatives just go, like, when they say the left, it's almost like they're grouping everybody together from, it's the same thing when Michael Mouse said it best, when someone calls Nancy Pelosi far left. It's like, that's not anywhere near far left. That's like center left. I mean, I know all the Fox News tells us.
In my opinion, far left doesn't have their natural hair color.
Like, here's the thing. Even that, like the real crazy woke shit, 10 years ago wasn't even the hard left. Like, a hard left is like an old school Bernie Sanders. That's like, what? You're talking about lesbians and color? No. It's the rich and the poor. Like, that's all it's really. And maybe the blacks. Like, that's about all they really like diverge into. And it coincidentally, and I've heard this thread amongst others, but it's something I really concur with. You know, we used to have I think I brought it up. We used to have Occupy Wall Street that said, like, we're the 99%, we're coming for you corporations. And the corporation said, oh shit, this left wing is a real threat to our bottom dollar, our bottom line. Let's throw some money at them. Pay for a pride parade. That'll keep them busy. Let's amplify this small, tiny, radical section of leftism. Like, if there's a big chart of what is left wing, that, like, where this woke stuff comes from is a real small sliver in this big diagram.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because you got base people like Russell Brand and Jimmy Dore that are like, whereas they don't like corporations making a profit, and they might not like a lot of private property, some things I disagree with them on. They're like, oh, no, Pfizer's taking advantage of our system and is, like, screwing us. It's like, oh, I think most right wingers I know would agree with that.
Yeah, I've heard, because you talk about the shorts and the reels. I've seen some stuff pop up from him saying things, and I was like, never in a million years would I have thought I just agreed with Russell Brand on something.
I think it's turning in. Like, don't get me wrong, he'll have a great big spiel of where I agree with like 90% of what he's saying. He'll be like, the internationalists and the big banks are out to get us, and they're all just trying to get us into the military-industrial complex to take our money and fatten their wallets. And I'm like, yes, check mark, check mark, check mark. He goes, and if only more of us could vote about it, we could do it. I'm like, oh, whoa, back, pump the brakes, because I think voting got us into this mess. But what he's talking about isn't necessarily like even how we have our voting system. How I understand it from really far left-wingers is like, no, like you and your county will vote on things with you and your county, and y'all leave the rest of the world the hell alone. I'm like, that's closer to what I believe than, I don't like the voting part, but I'm like, I like it being local. I like it, like there's a lot of
We must conquer Manatee County.
Good luck. Good freaking luck. Dude, Manatee County, God bless it. Like the old school Manatee people I meet, like there's a grit to them that's the special like old school Florida cracker, but on a beach vibe.
That's how I bought my lawnmower from.
But dude, the new Manatee County, that's just the trash that's flowed in from the north. Ooh, like whenever you see a pic in Florida of like some chick with an ankle monitor on, like trying to step into a jacked up truck that's got weed smoke blowing out of it, good chance that's Bradenton, Sarasota area. Or Duval. Duval's got a lot of hot spots. Or Miami. It's like a nice triangle.
Lakeland. Kind of I-4. Basically, if you can basically just go down Jacksonville 95.
You can do a white trash tour in Florida.
Yeah, the I-4.
We're saying
I-4 across to Orlando to Tampa, and then you take 75 back down to Sarasota, Bradenton. Boom. Boom.
The irony is not lost on us that we are Arcadians saying this.
I mean, anytime we make the news, it's bad.
We survive hurricanes.
Yes, let us that be at the claim to fame, not the fair shooting we just had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Oof. By the way, me and my daughter went, like, we were like, hey, let's go have, like, a good fair memory and, like, go to the Lee County Fair over the weekend. And I paid $100 to stand in line for 4 hours. It was insane. But we had go on, like, 4 or 5 rides. Like, it was fun and awesome, like, spending time with my daughter and her little friend, who's a fun little shithead. But,
I went and walked around the Pioneer Days.
I will say this. So, like, I'll just ask you, describe the general crowd at the DeSoto County Fair. And I don't mean the livestock crowd. I mean the... Okay, yes, a lot of Mexicans. But, like, all right, describe the white people you see. The ones you don't know.
I would say it's kind of a mixed bag.
I
would say you got a lot of high school kids. You
Okay.
got some high school kids, and then I'd say then there's no middle ground. I would say you've either got kind of like a trashier crowd, or you've got like the upper crowd that's there doing like their fair stuff, the steers, the buyers, auction stuff.
When you say white trash, I'm talking adults wearing pajamas to the fair and bringing...
Yeah, like Bunny, like rode there on a bicycle and bunny slippers. I
can handle that. Yeah, to me, bunny slippers. Okay, that completes the picture. Yeah, there's like so much. I went to the Fort Myers Fair and I'm Lee County. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a look at this crowd. And I'm like, y'all look better than us. y'all look like y'all have y'all shit together.
It's just a normal family.
Yeah, it really is. Like everybody looks like I don't see any super obese people. Like a couple, but not like ours.
They go for the fair for like a funnel cake as a treat.
Yeah,
not their groceries.
No, funnel cakes. Oh, no.
We got corn dogs at home.
Yeah. Oh hell. So I don't know what. Wow, we went from stocks.
We're getting a Wawa now though, so we are moving on up in the world.
Are we getting a Culver's too?
Yes.
That's cool.
I just miss this like a place to get like a milkshake or ice cream.
I miss having a diner that was... We used to have something called The Clock. It was open 24/7.
I think most of my times were there about 2 a.m.
2 a.m. and you are hammered drunk, and there is a table right next to you full of state troopers, officers, and there's just this kind of unspoken truce.
Respect. It's just kind of like,
we
know why you're here, but at least you're getting coffee.
Yeah, like, I'll get coffee and sober up, go to hell home. And it's like, they don't say that, but they do it with their eyes.
And then it's the awkward waiting for them to leave first.
Always had that. If I don't look at you, you can't see that I'm drunk.
Yeah.
I don't look at the window.
Disregard my buddy eating the crayon, but...
Yes. So, dude, all right. One other thing I felt like was some pretty pertinent news that came up. Old Tucker, messy hair himself, released some of the January 6th tapes.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what's been more interesting, watching them or watching the reaction. That's been... First, like...
I know it's a good thing when Mitch McConnell's upset.
Let me say this. Let me give the devil his due. Oh, wait, hang on. It's always great when child murderers are upset. That's the chef's kiss. But let's say let me give the left as much like of a solid place to stand as I can. When I say the left, I mean like the shitlibs that look at it as an attack on our democracy. There were people that day who seemed like, in some of the counter footage I've seen, seemed pretty violent. I've seen like 3 or 4 things where it's like somewhat like a crew of them. Like,
you put me in a crowd of people, I'm going to be violent. Not for against the government, just because I don't like people.
Get away! Leave my personal space!
Yeah.
No, but like, it was like I saw... It seems like one group, like, kind of beating an officer. Not kind of. It really seems like they are beating an officer. So one guy got damaged pretty hard. They smashed some windows and all that. And that's not... It's not excusable to sit there and hurt people that aren't doing anything to you.
I just like it's been 3 years and we're still like just...
It's still the worst thing since Pearl Harbor.
Well, not only that, is that we're just now getting like some videotape stuff. Like, it's...
And it's like, so let me get done steel manning their position, because I'm trying to do that. Outside of some violent actors that were there, definitely. Like, I've seen the tapes of some people being violent. Overwhelming majority of them are just riled up rednecks that aren't being violent. They might be being excited. They might be chanting some shit. They might be having, anything along those lines. However, when you see them using the velvet ropes and no one has a firearm, if this is an insurrection, no one brings a gun.
Yeah.
Not only that, the video comes out today. Tucker Carlson has released some of it, where the shaman, like the picture of the damn January 6th.
That guy's weird. I don't think anybody's claimed that guy.
No, yeah, but I mean, even then, he's like being showed around by cops and be given a tour. And like at the video I saw, like they're standing beside him while he's looking at papers, and he's like, "Oh, look!" Not even like at a congressman's desk. I'm talking
he's
about
like at one of those kiosks says, "You are here."
Yeah, like it's a kiosk or something. He's like, "Hey, what do you think about this pamphlet?" The cop's like, "Oh, I don't know. I hate pamphlets," or whatever the cop says. And and something that wasn't broadcasted very much. Did you see where I believe it was the FBI was questioned during the January 6th hearings? Did you ever see that?
No.
Where they asked them, "Do you have any internal agents
Oh, I didn't.
who have subverted or infiltrated the crowd at January 6th and led them to do anything?" And every single time, we can't answer that in the interest of national security. It's like, that's a yes. That's a yes. You did have plants in there. And another one that I have not heard a good defense for is this Ray Epps. Not Ray Epps. That's an actor. Roy, you know who I'm talking about? The big barrel-chested guy who kept the day before the rallies. There's multiple videos of, I'm really close to his name. It's not Ray Epps, but it's something really close. He's wearing a MAGA hat, big barrel-chested guy. He goes, "We're going to go up to the Capitol and we're going to storm inside and show them we mean business." And the people videotaping him were like, "Shut up, you're a Fed."
Oh.
You're a Fed. And he's like, "No, I'm not. We're gonna go up there, we're gonna get our hands on them." Everyone else around him's like, "No, we're not putting our hands on anybody. We're not you're a Fed trying to incite violence." And this guy has been brought up at these hearings. They're like, "We have no comment on him." And it's like
I saw another video. I don't know if it was from January 6th or not, but it's all these guys these guys are in like jean shorts, like the clean shaven head, and like the hats on.
They're glowing.
Yeah, the people like walk by and they're calling them out. They're like they just look so out of place.
And it's what? Oh, that must be scary as shit to be an undercover cop. You know what? Like what was I watching the other day? Speaking of ATF last week, it was some like true crime thing shorts, of course. He's like, I'm going to tell you how I went undercover into the Hells Angels. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And he goes, I was working for the ATF. I'm like, go screw yourself. Let the Hells Angels be. Swipe it up. Go into the next one.
How dare you?
Yes.
They give children bicycles on Christmas. And also, you know.
Also, they keep showing dogs on Twitter of like, come to the ATF dog show. I'm like, is the irony not lost on you? I've said that for the third time tonight. Shit, I'm getting tired. But
I mean, they're good at teaching dogs new tricks, like stay.
And by the
way,
way,
dead.
In case I sound like a psychopath, because I know to like the blue pill person or the person that still believes
the
like,
FBI agent that listens to this
yeah,
show.
That dude is like, what do you mean making like our? Let me put it in their words. Are democratically elected officials, why would you want the people's chosen representatives like scared out of their mind and like, but you know, sure they get some things wrong here and there, but they're working with the people's best interest. They're doing humanitarian things like in Ukraine. Here's like, I just want to go down this, any time that you believe we are doing it for humanity, like if you believe we're doing an intervention, the federal government is, whether it's domestically or internationally, for noble reasons, if you think like there's a humanitarian intent, like, oh, these poor people in this region are being prosecuted, we're going to use the might of the American people, all their tax money we collect, to go in there and solve this problem.
Yeah, Afghanistan's doing great since we left.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, I think a lot of us started getting woken up during Iraq and Afghanistan. Like me, I think when Iraq started, I was like, bomb to hell! Yeah, man, this is gonna be fun. We're just killing terrorists, and it's like Call of Duty. And then you start digging deeper into it, and you're like, oh god, stuff of nightmares. Are we the baddies?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we might be the bad guys.
Not we. Me and you didn't do that shit.
Well, yeah, but I think on the world stage we might not be the good guys.
The gang that rules us. And like here's what I want to break down. This really I know this goes as far back to the early 1900s. That's my like 100% starting point. What I'm about to tell you, this Smedley Butler, the most decorated Marine in history, if we've talked about him, comes out and just flat out says this. He's like, you don't get the size of a racket this is. This just ain't like some general is getting paid like $1 million or something for introducing some gun or some weapon that was like introduced by a weapons manufacturer. Like, we all know about the weapons manufacturers getting paid for what they're selling to Ukraine or what they're selling to the military or whatever. It's on such a scale even bigger than that. I believe we currently have, I think the last number I said, I don't know, I might be off on this. I think it's 280 American bases around the world. The amount of money that goes into those bases, forget paying the soldier to be there. Forget his yearly salary. The amount of money our federal dollars pay to Taco Bell to have a fucking restaurant there. The amount of money they pay to Michelin, I don't know if specifically Michelin, but a tire manufacturer to make all the tires for that base. And when their tires start showing a little, and I've heard this from like Army guys that were in deployment, when their tires start showing a little bit of tread or they get like a flat,
they get retired.
Dude, not just the tire. Like the whole, like, screw this machine, get a new one. Because it's on the public tax dime. And the company's just pumping them out because it's buying it up. And, like, the amount of money that is being made off of bloodshed. Off of ripping humans limb from limb all around the world. You know what? playing devil's advocate, some of them probably deserve it. I'm certain. Like, there's probably some dudes that get blown up by a Predator drone missile that, like, kill a lot of innocent people. Sure. The numbers ain't adding up on, like the innocent bystanders versus the guilty people we're going for. And it's like, anytime, like, when this Ukrainian war started, it was all like, all you heard about was the brave Ukrainian fighters that are out on the front line. And like, don't get me wrong, they are right. There are, like, brave men and women, and what the fuck ever's in the Ukrainian army, fighting on the front lines that believe in noble causes. I probably, like, agree with them a lot on a lot of things. I'm not belittling them. But when the corporate press, specifically, and the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, and all of the federal government and American empire entities say, we care about these people, know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, they are full of shit. They are lying through their teeth. And, like, my proof of this is evident.
It's like me with gardening. It's about money.
It's about the money, dude. Like, and I talked to my dad one time about this. And I remember he was talking about, like, he's totally red-pilled on Vietnam. And it's so crazy to hear him talk, because he stayed out of that one. He was like, should have been drafted. He wasn't a draft dodger, but he just got out of it, like, miraculously.
Yeah.
There's buckshot in my face, sir. I don't know if I want any more in it.
Daddy did one semester of college.
I ain't going. Which I don't blame him. But
well, he never got drawn up anyways, but I think he was at the back, but he still went to college.
But, like, when you look at the microcosm of Vietnam, just like in a vacuum, like, take out all the other things, like stuff like the same companies that sold the weapons to our soldiers on the front lines, I can't remember the company's names, but the one that owned, might have been the majority of who made the M16 or the M4 or something, I can't remember. They also contracts after the war was over to rebuild the roads and rebuild. So it's like,
double-sided.
Not only did I get paid to blow your country to shit, I'm going to get paid to build it back up. And
So they blow it up extra good.
Yeah. And they also allowed Viet Cong to take American arms depots because they knew the Americans would have to order more guns. Dude, the amount of not giving a shit about human life these people are capable of is astounding. The biggest one of all, the biggest one that should just notify you about how the game is played. I might have told it on here. It's whenever, who was the president during Vietnam? The one that president during most of it. Johnson. It was after Kennedy's death. And he was president, and he was coming up for re-election, and he was pretty much told, like, we got to pull out, like, this isn't, I didn't. This is an unwinnable war, we got to go out. And he said, like, I think this was, like, in January or February, he got this news. He said, well, listen, no president has ever won a re-election losing a war. So we will continue to send men to their deaths by the thousands. Throw them into a meat grinder and something we know we cannot win in order for me to keep my job in 8 months. For 8 more months, we got to keep just sacrificing humans to this machine, and I get to keep I'm already rich.
Yeah.
I'm already, like, got more money than the average person could think of. But this power, this is mine. And I'm keeping, like, dude.
So yeah, I can see him getting Kennedy whacked.
Dude, not just that, but, like, so anytime I hear, the Ukraine, I'm just using the Ukrainians as the latest example. The poor Houthis in, wait, is it Houthis in China? Who was in Afghanistan or Iraq? Where like, no, these people are the American ally of the Middle East.
It's just like the Contras.
It's not the Turks. It's something.
Shiites.
It's not Shiites. It's
the Kurds.
Kurds. That's it. The Kurds are.
You're just making up word like sounds.
Yeah, it's something. It's something a la Abdul. No, like the Kurds are about to get genocided if we don't spend all this money on weapons and everything else. It's like,
I haven't heard about the Kurds in years.
Yeah, they conveniently don't mention. Whenever you could throw a dart at a globe and you'll land on a place where there's a frickin' genocide going on. They just don't put the cameras on that spot because it's not productive. So, I apologize if I come off, if you have the impression I'm a psychopath that's laughing at these blood-soaked monsters on January 6th being scared of some white trash Trumpers QAnons that showed up to the White House to look around. But, like, if they really were scared, and that's, like, legit photos of them, like, on their knees worried, ain't that just a one day of a little bit of justice?
I did like the fact that they were so scared they put up all the fences after,
Yeah.
and they've got to be, like, behind.
They're behind the Iron Curtain.
Yeah.
And it's like, if government comes from the consent of the governed, I no longer consent. It's just, now how you figure out how to put that in action is the rest of it. But I think if you, a big slice of that is getting enough people to just like kind of verbally say, I don't.
You work for us?
No, well, hang on. All right, I know it's getting late. Dave Smith has like one of the best jokes in the world about this. And it's, they don't work for us. They've never worked for us.
No.
Like, if you think like the police, Dave Smith has this joke, if you think the police work for you, just go up to a group of cops and start bossing them around. Just start telling them what to do. See, if they work for you, see what they do when you start bossing them around.
Yeah.
He's like, actually, if someone works for you, that's because you're deciding to pay them.
Right.
What cops do is take your money without fucking asking you before you ever see it. And then they say, you're going to do what we tell you to do. Or we're going to throw you in a cage and have somebody else decide what to do with you.
This isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, more red pills all around everybody. And hey, like, I'm not saying that in of itself is the system. I'm not taking like a snipe shot at any personal cop I know. But it's just, that's the nature of this system. Anyways, guys, it's late as shit. I gotta get up actually at like 4:30 and go get on a tractor before the sun comes up. So I don't burn the grass when I fertilize or still dew on the ground. It's good for it. Everything. Y'all
You do you.
Y'all know what I'm saying. Anyways, guys, first of all, thank y'all for listening. This is cool as shit. We're getting over like 100 listeners an episode. That's neat. We're gonna try to keep it real. Maybe a little bit less on the gruesome animal violence we talked about.
Yeah, we got those stories out of the way.
We
so
did.
There's no need to retell them.
The therapy is complete. Nature is metal.
You will see that deer in your dreams tonight.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, thank y'all for listening. Follow us on Twitter at the Bandit Radio Hour, on everything else, YouTube, RSS feed, Spotify.
Rumble in case YouTube cancels us for the gory horror.
Do they let some weird shit on YouTube and us just screwing around with
Yeah, but we were going to anger PETA, so.
Solid point. Anyways, guys, hopefully we see y'all next week. Take it easy. Stay classy, San Diego.